This week in the Torah, Parsha presents to us the choice to live our life according to blessings or to make poor choices and to receive less than blessings. Not only did Alan mention it before in his talk and his blessing to the kids, not only will both of our amazing B'nai Mitzvah talk about it in their beautiful speeches, but I'm going to talk very briefly about the structure of the Parsha and the relationship to the Haftorah and how I think it relates to all of our lives. Because this amazing abstract choice that we all have to make between blessing and curse, the Torah doesn't let it live in the heavens, live in the abstract, live in the grandeur, the profound journey of our people. The Torah tells us very simply, you want to make decisions that guide your lives, make decisions in the everyday details of your life. Make decisions about prioritizing the land of Israel in your life. Make decisions about what kind of food you're going to eat. Make decisions about the mitzvot that you're going to observe. Make decisions about tithing and the tzedakah that you're going to give. Make decisions about the way in which you're responsible for your own personal finances and the finances of your community. Make decisions about the holidays that come to define our calendar. And in each of the small decisions, that will determine whether you're on a path towards blessing or a path towards curse. And it ends with the three holidays that come to define our Jewish New Year, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Shamor et Chodesh Aviv Asita Pesach. Observe, safeguard, protect the month that begins the spring, and observe the holiday of Passover. V'samachta b'chagecha, you shall rejoice in the holiday of Sukkot. And then we transition to the traditional Haftorah from Isaiah. And Isaiah's words aren't about the small detail at all. Isaiah's words are about something grand and profound, something that we don't even recognize in this world. I'll read to you the beginning of chapter 55. All who are thirsty, come for water. Even if one has no money, come buy food and eat. Buy food without money, wine and milk without any cost. Why do you spend money for what is not bread? And I look at that and I think to myself, is Isaiah talking about a fantasy world? After speaking about the granular details of the way I live my life in the Torah, why would we marry it? Why would Chazal, the sages of our tradition, why would they marry it to this kind of message? And the truth is, I think the juxtaposition of the Torah and the Haftorah leads me to an understanding that it's actually in our control to construct our own reality. In choosing between blessing and curse, we also choose between how much reality we want to focus in and how much fantasy. How much we want to understand the world around us as everything we see with our eyes, and how much we want to use our imagination to imagine, to dream of what the world could possibly be. And the reason why the juxtaposition of reality and fantasy is on my mind, I have to confess, it's really not our way as a people is to confess in the sanctuary, but I will confess that my fantasy football draft is coming up right now. And I have to confess that if you came here looking for Torah wisdom, then you're in the right place. But if you came here to find out who you should draft in the first round, you're looking at the wrong person. But I'm certain that if I asked everybody in the congregation to tell me who they were drafting with their first pick, I would hear people call out Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, blah, blah, blah. If I asked you what Parsha in the Torah we're reading next week, halavai, everybody be able to call it out. Parenthetically, it's Shelf Team. Somebody said it over here. Thank you very much. You get an extra bagel at Kiddush. Yasher koach. So I have to tell you a little bit about my fantasy football team. Because on Sundays, when you're at home watching games, and you watch the Rams play the Buffalo Bills, they have no idea that the quarterback on the Rams could be playing for my brother-in-law on the Van Buren Boys, while the receiver could be playing on Lebovitz Shuffle, obviously an homage to the greatest music video ever made by a Super Bowl champion football team. Lebovitz Shuffle is guided by some very distinct principles that my son and I, as co-owners, decided on years ago. We must maintain a Chicago Bear at all time. We will never draft a Packer. There's a connection between our fantasy world and our reality world. There's a connection. But I'm entirely certain that Caleb Williams doesn't realize that the way that he plays on Sunday affects my mood throughout the rest of the week. I'm sure that none of the players realize that when my league gets together at my brother's house for the brunch that's upcoming, and we sit there as a small community, a group of friends and families, most of us pairings of fathers and sons, there is actually tremendous joy and tremendous meaning. I think as I read Parsha Re'eh wants me to make choices about the mitzvot and about what I eat. And it wants me to choose to construct for myself a Passover Seder that is in some ways realistic and honors our history and is in some ways fantasy. I sit at the Passover Seder and I say, I am a slave and tomorrow I will be free. And in most houses that observe Passover Seders in Encino, nothing about our lives resembles slavery whatsoever. Yet we enact these initiatives because as Jews we are to believe that the world that we see is not the only option. There's a better world. There's a world of our making that is possible, not only for ourselves, but for our entire community, for our neighbors, for this country, and for the world, for humanity at large. And I believe that when we practice flexing that muscle, when we construct reality by creating a Passover Seder, when we use that muscle by saying, yesterday you weren't adults, but today you begin your journey towards adulthood. I saw Zach and Kara with my own eyes yesterday. They looked a whole lot like what they look like today. But this kind of construction that we do in Judaism, this is actually the magic of Judaism. This is what allows us to hold these kinds of moments, to invite friends and families from the four corners of the earth, to tell cousins, you might have just flown out to college just a few days ago. It's time to come back home because family matters more than college. That's the wisdom of our ancestors, heard in this world. And that's not an idea that you can understand just through reality alone. The idea that our ancestors speak to us, deliver us wisdom through the Torah reading and through all of the practice of the mitzvot. The idea that all 5 generations will stand on this bima today. The idea that they will dance at a Seudah mitzvah, at a party. The idea that this is not just 2 children becoming adults, but a community coming together. Those ideas aren't founded in reality at all. Those ideas are all aspirational. Those ideas were imbued in us throughout our education, that in these moments we are to enact it. And when we do, it takes tremendous koach. It takes strength. It takes resilience to say everybody has to meet at this place at this time. We all have to come around the table. It is an expectation for our entire family because we don't just live according to reality. We live according to our constructed reality. I have to tell you, I'm not sure if Lebovitz Shuffle will have a good year this year or not. If you take our past experiences as a suggestion of what's about to happen, I'm probably wasting $100. I'm probably wasting a lot of time and effort looking at statistics, reading blogs. But the constructed reality of the score of that team on Monday night matters to me not at all. If that experience helps create in any way a moment so that I can find my way onto the couch next to my son on Sunday, so that we can bond in some way over the Bears being awful, over the Rams being mediocre, over the Kansas City Chiefs undoubtedly getting all the breaks again this year. If in some way that creates a sense of family and a sense of bonding and a sense of love, then that fantasy is what I want. And that's what Isaiah holds out for all of us, is that in each of us there's an idea of how it is that our family can come closer together, how this community can come together and bond with one another, how we can find in each other shamor to protect Passover and observe Passover, and samecha and joy to sit in the sukkah and say, even though we have a house, a beautiful house 20 feet away, we're going to live inside this hut for the next 7 days because it teaches us an important lesson. Those experiences that Judaism dictates that we not only go through ourselves, undertake for ourselves, but undertake for our entire family. That's the wisdom. That's the wisdom of our ancestors. And the choice today between reality and fantasy, that's a choice for other people. Because for Jews, we've made the choice, and the choice is always both. Shabbat Shalom.